Good afternoon. Welcome to the GDI Consulting's webinar on the NAVSUP WEXMAC 2.1, TITUS, Worldwide Expeditionary Multiple Award Contract 2.1, Territorial Integrity of the U.S., Opportunity. My name is Cal and I am your Artificial Intelligence host today. With me is Ab Vand, VP for Capture at GDI Consulting and a subject matter expert on these opportunities. Ab will guide you through today's deep dive into the WEXMAC program. We'll cover where it's been, how it performed, and most importantly, how you can position your business to win the next phase of this major federal opportunity. Whether you're new to WEXMAC or looking to improve your standing, this session is designed to give you actionable intelligence. Ab has over 30 years of experience in capture and proposal management. He is considered an expert in self-scoring as well as traditional proposal and capture efforts. Ab has managed over 1,000 successful capture and proposal efforts and is a regular contributor to Washington Technology and other online GovCon magazines. He has also held numerous training webinars for various APMP chapters and APEX, previously PTAC, offices throughout the U.S. Before starting, there are a few housekeeping notes I would like to mention. First, this webinar is being recorded and the link to the recording will be sent to you within 24 hours. Second, we will hold a Q&A session at the end. You can send your questions during the webinar by the chat system to the right of your window and Ab will address them at the end. Third, you can download this presentation by clicking on the link under File on the right-hand side panel on your window. We highly recommend you download the slide deck so that you can always refer back to it. So let's see what this webinar covers. We will first have a quick glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities. Then, a little bit of a background on the WEXMAC program. After that, Ab will provide the general details of the WEXMAC 2.1 opportunity and its scope of work as well as its gate criteria. Next will come a detailed discussion of the proposal structure as well as the source selection process. Ab will also touch on the subject of teaming and partnering. Then Ab will provide some general recommendations towards preparing a winning proposal, and finally he will open the floor for questions. So, with that, I will now hand over the control to Ab to first give a short glimpse on GDI Consulting's capabilities. Ab, you can take over now.
Thank you, Cal, and hello everyone. Thank you for participating in this webinar. Let me very quickly go over GDI Consulting and its capabilities, and then we will dive into the WEXMAC subject. So GDI Consulting is a metric-driven partner with over 15 years of solid performance in the government space. Our average win rate over the past 3 years, 81% across all proposals. But when it comes to self-scoring proposals, that actually jumps to 98%. That's because we take a disciplined approach. So if we believe a client won't be competitive, we advise the no-go. So we only pursue winnable opportunities, and this is a win-win situation for both sides. In 2024 alone, we helped clients win 289 multi-million-dollar proposals totaling over $19.6 billion in contracts, including 6 multi-billion-dollar wins. So you can review this slide later for more facts on our company. I'll skip the rest of it. So at GDI Consulting, we support government contractors with the tools and expertise to compete and win in the federal space. Starting with proposal services as our major service category, we help assess your eligibility and scoring potential, then support you through the full proposal process from task orders to GVACs like Oasis Plus and Alliant 3 when it was out. So for self-scoring bids, we know what it takes to maximize points. You need more help, our staff can actually step in through proposal reviews or full augmentation. And by augmentation, I mean that we can provide you with specific talent which is missing in your team. On the capture management side, our team builds custom strategies to help you identify and position for right opportunities, especially through vehicles like GSA Mass or Oasis Plus or Seaport. We also have our Capture Edge It's our in-house platform to streamline your capture process, all the way from planning to pursuit, the whole process. Our support services cover the rest. So CMMC support for DoD contractors, assisting with accounting readiness for DCA or DCMA audits, making sure your systems and pricing are audit proof. Competitive intel, black hat reviews, and price to win analysis. So these are all the services we provide under support services. And finally, we offer training from capture planning to proposal development to equip your team with real-world actionable skills tailored to the federal market. So whether you're a small business or a growing prime, GDI Consulting is your partner for long-term smart federal growth. We try to position ourselves as your one-stop shop for all your contracting needs. That's how we want you to see us. Okay, and finally, the services we provide for WEXMAC, and I'll go into this later on. So we provide free consultation, pre-qualification assessment to make sure that you can actually go for this. And then once you decide a go instead of a no-go, we have two services. We can provide full proposal development, in which we have a dedicated proposal team for it, take full responsibility, cradle to grave for the proposal. Or in case you have your in-house team, we can do reviewing and auditing. So once you prepare your proposal, we can review and audit your proposal and help you win on this. So that was a very quick overview of our company. Let's now dive into the WEXMAC program. So, and let's start the presentation with the history and the background of the WEXMAC program. So to understand WEXMAC 2.1, we must first look back. The original WEXMAC concept was born from the Navy's need for a sort of a robust, responsive contracting tool that would be capable of delivering critical logistic services, and that being globally. It consolidates logistics management under one streamlined structure. So whether it's, for example, food rations in Africa or communication gear in Eastern Europe, whatever, all of it is under one contract. So the contract's backbone is built for agility and global reach, covering nearly every continent. Remember, we are discussing WEXMAC as a whole. Now, WEXMAC 2 might be a little bit more specific, but we'll see about that. Okay, so the WEXMAC 2 was awarded in December 2024. It was an ambitious opportunity. Spanning 26 geographical regions with a $2.5 billion ceiling. So it tested vendors' ability to scale services from, small contingencies all the way to full humanitarian missions. However, it wasn't without challenge, in fact. So already some have surfaced. So response timeline needed tightening. Aliens sometimes caused confusion. Line items, that is. Managing host nation coordination required improvement. These insights now shape the refined strategy behind WEXMAC 2.1 to some extent. But so the government is actually using those lessons learned from WEXMAC 2 and WEXMAC 1 actually going forward. So now on to WEXMAC 2. Let's start with some general information about this opportunity. So this is a massive $10 billion global logistics contract under the Navy's NAVSUP. So Naval Support Systems Command, that's NAVSUP. It's an IDIQ in structure, meaning multiple awards, multiple task orders. It's partially set aside for small business, particularly in Region 23 that we will cover as part of WEXMAC 2.1. And it includes continental US. Now, the primary NAICS code is 541614. So logistics and distribution focused firms are squarely in scope. Logistics and distribution focused firms. Okay, now this is important. WEXMAC 2.1 does not cover the entire globe, so it's not a re-bidding of WEXMAC 2. WEXMAC 2 is already bidded, it's been awarded. This just covers two regions, Region 23 and Region 27. Both of them are essentially continental US, including Alaska. The difference, Region 23 is small business set aside only, and Region 27 is large business. But essentially, it's important to understand WEXMAC 2.1 covers only continental US and Alaska. They're not bidding the other regions again. That's already been bidded. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 87 companies have been awarded for the entire globe, except for the US part. So they're bidding now the Region 23 and 27, which is continental US, including Alaska. And Hawaii is not part of it. It's a separate region. Okay, so it's essential to understand where we are on the timeline. So WEXMAC 2 was awarded in 2024. In fact, December 2024, it was finalized. Contracts running through 2029. If they exercise the options, 2034. So that's the length of it. Now, we expect the draft RFP is out for the WEXMAC 2.1 continental US. It came out on June 9th. They were supposed to issue the full RFP on June 25th, but it has slipped. It's not out yet, and we are in July now. We estimate that it will be coming out sometime in July or in August. So not much time. You really need to have started already if you want to win on this. And the estimated award date is June 2026. These large IDIQs take a long time, usually a year, for them to finalize. But it doesn't mean that you have that much time to prepare. I mean, the full RFP will drop any day, and you really need to have started already. Okay. So let's look at the scope. For those of you who are not familiar with WEXMAC program, let's see what's the scope of this contract. So WEXMAC 2.1 has an incredibly broad scope, covering everything from disaster relief all the way to military logistics. It supports 6 phases of operations and includes theater opening, RSOI, sustainment, theater distribution, stability operations, defense support of civil authorities, DSCA, and contingency planning. So these are the type of operations that WEXMAC 2.1 supports. Now, the type of services that are expected on it: base operations and life support, logistics and transportation, communication, construction equipment and crane services, not construction, the actual work, but equipment and crane services, yes. And then lodging, conference, and catering. All of these 5 areas are huge. So contractors need to be agile, responsive, and globally scalable to be able to provide all of this. Okay, so in terms of the classes of supplies and the services, this contract is built around readiness. If troops need food, fuel, or force protection on short notice, contractors under WEXMAC must deliver. So these classes of supplies and services mirror the military's supply chain structure, and the offerers must be prepared to provide or actually integrate these through subcontracting or direct delivery. So it's up to you, but you at the end of the day, you need to deliver. So as you can see, these include class 1 type stuff like food, rations, water, class 2 clothing and equipment, class 3 petroleum, oils, lubricants, class 4 construction and barrier materials, class 6 personnel items, class 8 medical supplies, and then medical and force protection services and other services and supplies as needed. So you can see it covers a large range of different items and services. So I just want to once again emphasize, don't forget that WEXMAC 2.1, I did cover all those services, all those items, all those classes, but it is for US continental, including Alaska, and nowhere else. Region 3, small business, and Region 27, large business, but the same geographical location. Okay, let's discuss a little bit about gate criteria. I mean, eligibility and whether, whether you should go after WEXMAC or not. What are the key points that you should consider when you're considering this opportunity? So not everyone actually can play in this space. You must show strong past performance in logistics, and you must have and prove your delivery capacity. So in essence, you must be able to demonstrate performance in logistics and contingency support operations. You must be able to show capability to operate globally, here throughout the US continental, not just in a few states. Maintain relevant licensing, insurance, and compliance with local laws in each state. Provide 24/7 availability for mission response. This is very important. And then for Region 23, it's set aside for small business. So obviously, only small businesses can go for Region 23. If you're a large business, you have to go for Region 27. Now, also in terms of compliance and operational readiness, the government's not just looking for just any vendor. They're looking for a partner who can mobilize in 72 hours, handle environmental hazards, and coordinate seamlessly with local subcontractors. So these must be your strong points. 72 hours, environmental hazards if need be, and coordination. This is a test of both your technical and operational maturity as far as the government is concerned. Okay, so let's now discuss the proposal structure and how you're supposed to prepare your submission. So the WEXMAC 2.1 proposal is not a one-volume submission. Although, it's not very clear, the volume structure, at least with the draft, and the previous WEXMAC 2 did not have a very clear volume structure, as sometimes you see in RFPs. But you can think of it as these 5 areas: administrative, technical response, past performance, price, and responsibility. And I'm going to go over each of these separately. The overall submission must not be more than 75 pages. But all these administrative documents, certificates, CPARs, or PPQs, and those responsibility and that documentation, all of those are outside those 75 pages. So that 75 page essentially falls on that technical approach, and a little bit on the price. I'll discuss that in a minute. Okay, so the certification and compliance, or the administrative part, you're supposed to provide a cover letter, signed SF-33 and any amendments, completed reps and certs, evidence of your company's registration, obviously in SAM.gov, and a subcontracting narrative. So you have to explain who your subs are and provide any documentation with regards to your agreement with your subs that you're using in this opportunity. Now, the most important part, perhaps the most important part of your submission is the technical approach. This is the heart of your proposal. The government wants to see how you will do the work, not just that you can do the work, how. So you must detail your approach clearly, use diagrams or tables where appropriate, and don't forget your mobilization strategy as well. So you're supposed to cover at least the following areas that I've mentioned here. So a demonstration that you have or can obtain the organizational, management, and technical skills to successfully perform. Now, when it says organizational, it means that they know that you cannot do all of those areas by yourself. So who are your subs? How strong they are? So all of that falls under organizational. And then management. How are you going to manage the whole process? Manage the subs, manage the requests. All of that must be discussed. And then technical skills, obviously, for this type of work. You also must discuss your quality assurance procedures. It's really important for them because they want quality material for the military. So you need to discuss that thoroughly. Equipment and facilities used by you. So you have to say what facilities you have, in which, in the case of WEXMAC 2.1, in which states you have warehouses perhaps, what types of equipment you have. All of that should be discussed. A demonstration that you have or can obtain all registration permits and licenses required to perform the contract. So obviously, you might have to have a special required licenses for specific states and things like that. All of that must be provided. Showing that you have a computer system conforming to the requirements provided under cybersecurity requirements I outlined within this RFP. Now, there are some cybersecurity requirements, so you have to read them and you have to write towards that, showing that you can actually, your computer system, your IT system, and the infrastructure that you're using conforms to that. Now, the full RFP might require CMMC, or at least I've seen it done like this. They say that you have requested a 3PAO company to actually check you out. 3PAO companies are the ones that actually provide the certifications, CMMC certifications. So we'll have to see once the full RFP comes out if specifically they're going to ask for a CMMC certification or not. Because if you remember, starting from 2025, all DoD agencies are going to put that requirement into their RFPs for companies to have CMMC level 2 usually certification. So we'll have to see on that. If you're working with the federal government, specifically the DoD, you already need CMMC anyway. So go for it as soon as possible. We can support you, but anyways, we'll have to see as far as WEXMAC 2.1 how that works out. You have to also discuss your asset availability and readiness, how quickly you can provide them, and so a full disclosure of your assets and not assets as far as financial assets. This means towards the performance of the contract. So it's under technical approach, asset availability and readiness. And then agile and rapid response. So you have to show your processes are on the agile side, and you can rapidly respond to anything they want. Remember, one of the requirements was the 72-hour response time. So you have to actually break that down and actually prove that you can do it. You can respond within 72 hours for any requirements that the government puts up. So that was the technical approach you have to write, and those 75 pages, most of it will go into this. Okay. Now, past performance. You also have to provide past performance. You have to include past contracts relevant, obviously, to WEXMAC scope and your region, specifically continental US. So you might have performed outside US. That's a plus if you were going to go for other regions. But if you have contracts, logistics contracts and distribution contracts that you have performed within US, they are more relevant. So use those. Showcase your experience in global logistics and contingency support. So essentially logistics and contingency support, these are what they're looking for. Highlight subcontractor performance where applicable. And then you have to provide your CPARs, which includes obviously the ratings, customer info, and other information, as well as other information relevant to that contract. But what is mandatory is either a CPARs or what they have provided as attachment 1, past performance information and questionnaire. So you either fill that out, get it out, or a CPARs. But use some space of those 75 pages to actually describe your capabilities. Things like deployment, emergency responses, logistics integrations, all of those. So try to showcase your experience towards this WEXMAC 2.1. Okay, now another part is pricing, and it's called pricing narrative. So I did mention that the majority of those 75 pages will be spent towards the technical, but some of it must go towards pricing narrative. So a pricing narrative is required that shows how you intend to have fair and reasonable pricing towards the government. So they're not going to ask you for specific pricing one by one, but they want to know how you intend to have a fair and reasonable pricing. So you have to prove it. So how do you do that? You have to cover these things. Your history of providing fair and reasonable pricing on contracts for similar efforts. So here you cite contracts, similar contracts, but here you concentrate on providing fair and reasonable pricing to the government. Your internal controls or approved business systems that will ensure fair and reasonable pricing. So you have to discuss those internal controls, or if you have any approved business systems, including government-approved accounting systems, government-approved purchasing systems, things like that. And then you have to discuss the methodology used in developing your prices, such as explaining your estimating techniques, pricing methodology, other relevant information used to develop the task order ELIN pricing when they come out. So here you discuss the methodology. And as I said, you shall not provide specific ELIN pricing in response to this solicitation. They want to see a pricing narrative from you. Okay, moving forward. Some other responsibility type information. So you need to provide information demonstrating that the proposed subcontractor satisfies FAR 90104-1 general standards of responsibility. So not only you have to provide the general standards of responsibility for yourself, you also have to provide them, and I will not go into the details of those, the usual that you do for any contract, but you also have to do this for your subcontractors. So all the subcontractors that you mention as part of your team, you have to also provide information demonstrating that they pass the general standards of responsibility as well. Also, you have to provide audited financial statements for the most recent fiscal year end. So that's something that you shouldn't forget to include in your submission. Okay, so those were the different parts of the submission. It's not a volume-based one. You can put it as you like, but as I said, not more than 75 pages for the technical and pricing narrative and some of those information about the past performance. But the PPQs themselves or the CPARs are not part of that 75 pages. Okay, let's now discuss the source selection process that the government will go through, or what are their criteria. So this is a multiple award IDIQ, so all qualifying offers will be considered for an award. They're not going to compare you with others. Price or cost will not be evaluated as a factor for award based on that FAR 15.304 C2A. That allows them not to request pricing. Now, what are the evaluation factors? So there are three factors. The first factor, which is perhaps the most important, is called the general standard of responsibility determination. But this does not mean, the usual responsibility that you see in other contracts. It does cover the entire technical approach and past performance as well. So all those parts within the proposal that I mentioned towards technical approach, that falls here as well. Past performance falls here as well. Financials, your financial capabilities, all of that comes here. Factor 2, compliance with solicitation. So make sure you tick every requirement. You don't want to, be removed from the race because you missed this or that form or this or that signature or whatever. So make sure that you do multiple rounds of reviews and compliance reviews specifically. And then factor 3 is pricing assessment. Now, pricing assessment is based on that pricing narrative. So they check your narrative to make sure that you have the grounds to provide fair and reasonable pricing to the government. So the pricing narrative is key there for factor 3. But as I said, factor 1 is the most important part. Technical approach, past performance, financials, all of that fall in factor 1. And based on these 3 factors, then they decide to award or not award to a company. Okay. And I'm sure that they're going to expand on this, in the full RFP. We'll have to see how it comes out. This is so far what they have, issued. Let's discuss teaming as well, because it's important. So in WEXMAC 2.1, teaming is more than an advantage. It's, I should say, it's a necessity. Because no single firm can do all those areas of work. So when the government looks at you, even if you are the largest contractor of the government, they do understand that for all those different classes, for all those different services, you do need subcontractors, companies who are specialized in those specific areas. So having large teams is a plus. So start building your teams, not necessarily the number of team members, but a team that can actually respond to all those requirements that I mentioned in the scope area. So make sure your team members add real value on the other side of the spectrum. You just don't want to add teams just because you have a larger team. And that they are contractually committed. So at the end of the day, partnering is allowed. Form strategic alliances to cover all services categories. Small and large business joint ventures can improve eligibility and competitiveness. Ensure teaming partners are vetted and roles are clearly defined. Letters of commitment or subcontracting agreements may be required. We'll have to see in the final RFP, but be prepared to submit those as well. Okay, so end of the day, you really need to create teams to make sure that you provide a very strong team picture to the government. That's, you remember I mentioned it in organizational capabilities under technical approach. That's the thing. A strong team that can actually provide all the services and all the equipment and material that the government wants under the scope. Okay, so final recommendations. So winning WEXMAC means understanding what the Navy really needs. What do they need? They need fast, reliable, scalable logistics. So fast, reliable, scalable logistics. That's not just about what you say, obviously, but how well you align your story. I mean, the story of your submission, your proposal, the structure of your team, and your pricing. Through that, you want to show them that yes, you can provide fast, reliable, scalable logistics to them. Be clear, be compliant, be strategic. So in this regard, begin early and align capabilities with scope areas. If you've not started on this already, start immediately. Because it will drop any day and you don't want to lose time. You really need to, sharpen your proposal as much as possible to be able to be on this opportunity. Focus on integration, responsiveness, and geographic coverage. Now, as far as WEXMAC 2.1 is concerned, you want to be able to cover even Alaska. So if you don't your own services does not cover that, try to bring in one or more subcontractors who can actually provide services for all the different areas under the scope in Alaska, and then within all the states within the continental US as well. Submit a clean, compliant, and well-formatted proposal. To do that, you really need to do multiple rounds of reviews, obviously the usual pink, red, gold process, but bring in others, not just the proposal team, to review it. So others from your organization that can actually review is usually very helpful. Address risks and mitigation plans clearly. So the government wants to know, wants to see that you do understand that there are risks, but you can mitigate them. So discussing risk and discussing mitigation plans is really strong point in your proposal. Make sure that you do have that in your proposal. And then demonstrate understanding of DoD logistics and NAVSUP's priorities. So you really need to talk in their language. Make sure that you understand it, and then within your proposal you talk their language with regards to logistics and their priorities. Okay, so this then tells me that I should actually say, how can GDIC help you on this WEXMAC? So at GDI Consulting, we specialize in complex defense solicitations like WEXMAC. We have indeed won multiple contracts for our clients in other regions of WEXMAC. So yes, we have won on the previous WEXMAC for our clients, three wins for the clients we had for different regions, as well as other actually similar global logistics opportunities. We've won quite a lot of those in Europe, in CENTCOM area. So we've done a lot of that. So from opportunity assessment to full proposal development, we help you every step of the way. So I would say, let us be your force multiplier. So if you have not done this type of work before, or if you want support, if you want to make sure that you can win on this, we can support you. So here are services again towards WEXMAC. We provide free consultations, so by all means use that. Let us know. We can jump on a call, answer any questions that you might have. We do pre-qualification assessments, usually on the phone or even with more back and forth, but it's it's free. And then once you decide to go for it, we do provide full proposal development for our clients. We put a dedicated team for you to prepare your proposal with multiple reviews. We actually 2 teams we put usually. One team prepares the proposals, and one team separately is the one that comes in reviews, both for form and format as well as content. And then if you're doing it in-house, we can do review and auditing for you. So 2 rounds of reviews by our review and compliance team, plus strategy consultation. So these are the services we provide. And here are contact information, my own contact information, as well as my colleagues. I strongly recommend using the opportunity for free consultation calls. So for technical or sales inquiries, please contact us to set up a call and discuss the way forward. Best way to get a hold of me or Maron, my colleague, is through email. Okay, so we've reached the Q&A, and I'll start answering some of these questions. I see there are quite a few. So let's start then. Okay, so let's start with Kirk's question. So Kirk says, how is WEXMAC 2.1 structured differently from WEXMAC 2.0? So WEXMAC 2.1 is, as I said, Navy's next generation IDIQ logistics support vehicle with updated scopes, mobilization requirements, and integrator emphasis. But it is only for the continental US and Alaska and does not cover other regions. Other regions are covered by WEXMAC 2. So it builds on the WEXMAC 2 framework, but refines contractor expectations as far as the government has said across operations, pricing, and teaming. So those are the differences a little bit. Question from Will.